Perfect Genetics Challenge, Generation 1, Episode 32. Hi, Carrots here and welcome. The first part of this episode is going to be covering the Walker household in Moonlit Falls, and then we'll go and have a look at Donna in Sunset Valley. I think probably one more episode with the two households in different worlds, and then I'll get Donna into Moonlit Falls as well. The sim currently on screen is one of the imaginary friends turned real. That's Bobby. He had to deliver a fish to the science facility, so I sent him fishing after school. Don's alien daughter, Mary, is playing with her imaginary friend in the nursery. She has completed all of her toddler skill training and read all of her books, so she can age up at any time now. Homework is what occupies most of the children and teens immediately after school. There's two of them still doing their homework at the moment. In this room we can see Trish, Petal, Percy and Chaz. Trish and Chaz are both imaginary friends made real. For some reason they congregate in this front room to do their homework most days, even though they've all got desks in their own bedrooms, plus there's desks scattered around throughout the house. They just like that chair. That's where the old kitchen used to be. It's a school morning and it's time for them to head off to school on the bus. Most of them have got to the point now where they've done all of their skills that they need to do as children or teens and are just about ready to age up to the next age stage. It's just a few of them are finishing things off and some are itching to age up. So there could be some birthdays this episode. As a big hint, once Gary ages up to young adult, and he'll be the first one to do that, that will be the signal for Donna to arrive in town. That's a view of their school and the stadium. It's a combined rabbit hole. Back at home, Don and Olivia are reading recipes still. Olivia is ready to go back to work. She hasn't had a break, but Don's been off work for a while, getting over the birth of little Max, his third alien pregnancy so far. Olivia's ready to come to work. This is the diner. She's about to run inside. There she is. That's Olivia safely at work. She's almost at the top of her career. She's got her lifetime wish ages ago that was culinary librarian. Don's lifetime wish is celebrated 5-star chef. He is going to take a lot longer to get to his lifetime wish because he's had so many days off with his pregnancies, and also he was the one to have days off to look after the babies after Olivia had them. So Don has missed a lot of work time, which is why Olivia is almost to the top of the career and Don has still got several levels to go. When it's time for them to report to work at the diner, it's also time for the teens to come home from school, which is very helpful when there's babies to be babysat. That means we don't have to hire babysitters. And I'm wondering, what is Wilhelmina Wolf doing sitting in the bus going home with them? She must be coming home with them after school. The bus is obviously waiting for somebody who's probably sitting down somewhere in the schoolyard doing their homework. That's why they're not at home already. Will had something to deliver to the science centre. It's another double rabbit hole. I was having trouble getting him inside because a ghost was there and had gone in before him and he was just standing there. I eventually got him to go and deliver his item. That's Trish sitting on the floor doing her homework. She's the most recent imaginary friend to be made real, and she's taking an awfully long time to do her homework. Due to all of the extra bedrooms and new beds and other furniture we've had to buy with all these imaginary friends becoming real, the household is desperately short of funds. So Gary has come to the humble harvest stands at the greenhouse to consign some of the harvestables. Cindy's there too. She's collecting suns so they can sell them for 100 simoleans each. They're desperate for cash. Back at home, everybody is gathered in the nursery because young Max is carrying on the tradition of his two predecessors of screaming the house down as often as possible. His social need drops astronomically fast and he can keep his screech up all day and all night, which results in a whole lot of Sims standing around his cot and trying to put up with the noise, because nothing much keeps him quiet for long. At least it gives us a chance to see most of the household all together in one place. Now, I know I said repeatedly that Grumpy James was not going to turn his imaginary friend real. and I changed my mind because I was just curious, is Patches a female as well? Usually you can tell by changing their name, and you pick a girl's name or a boy's name, but that option is not available to James. So we're going to have to turn Patches real just to find out, is it a boy or is it a girl? And James has now got the task, the long task of finding potion he needs to turn Patches real. Apart from the fact that we're not going to watch the whole process of James trying to find the correct potion, but I will let you know that he did a very good job at looking for potions, and he found a lot of potions very quickly. And I only noticed him get singed once, I think. It was unexpected. Maybe it helps to leave it till later in life when they got more skills. I'm not sure. Or maybe James was just good at looking for potions. Looking at James's face there, you can see he does take after his mother quite strongly. He's the only one that got her blue skin. All of the offspring of Olivia and Don, the rest of them all got Don's skin and his facial features too, to a large extent. And all but Cindy and James got Don's hair. James got black hair, I don't know where that came from, and Cindy got to be the heir because she inherited her mother's hair and eye colour, which is what was the requirement for the heir. And although Cindy got her mother's hair and eye colour, she inherited her father's green skin, which I thought was interesting. I was half tempted to keep them going to see if they could get an heir with their mother's skin as well as hair and eyes, but that wasn't the requirement of the challenge, and I thought we really do need to move on to the next generation, so let's stick with Cindy. I was all set to age up Pat and Percy, Pat being Percy's imaginary friend made real, their children. And then when I was out for my afternoon walk, I got to thinking about it, and it occurred to me that I didn't remember getting Pat to do his childhood skills. So here he is, instead of blowing out candles on their birthday cake, here is Pat doing his cooking skill at the toy oven. I think he's already started. He doesn't have it all to do, but he hasn't got to level 3 in cooking just yet. So we'll leave him here to cook. And once he's done that, he'll go upstairs to the play table, and I'll get him to sit down there with Percy and Martin, because Martin is a child now and he needs to do his childhood skills as well. There's only one toy oven, so they can't both be doing their cooking together, but having them do their blocks together is good because they can become friendly. Their friendship can grow. And once Percy and Pat have aged up to teen, they probably won't want to spend much time with Martin. He'll be the only child in the household for a while until his little sister Mary ages up. When they sat down to play with the blocks, I discovered that Percy hadn't completed the block skill either, and he completed it before I started recording the video. Now that imaginary friend that just walked in, he's a child's imaginary friend, and the only child imaginary friend in the household at the moment belongs to Martin. And as you can see, Martin is the active sim, so that's why you could see the imaginary friend walking through. Martin recently got the opportunity when dreams come true, and I refused it because I don't want him to spend days, weeks, months, years looking for a pink diamond. And that is what they have to do when they get that opportunity. They've got to take things to their science facility, and in the end they get the money from the sale of the pink diamond to the science facility is used to buy the potion to make the imaginary friend real. So instead of that, I'm getting them all to use the chemistry table to make the potion. It's free to them that way, but they have to work hard with their logic skill at the chemistry table. In the end, they get the potion they need to make their imaginary friend real, plus lots of other potions that they make along the way, and they improve their logic skill. So to my mind, that's a much preferable thing for them to do than spend a lot of time fruitlessly searching for a pink diamond. And once Pat has learned the blocks skill, we'll be ready to age up both Pat and Percy. I'll keep Martin a child for a while longer because he has just aged up to a child recently, and I'd like his imaginary friend to become real while they're still a child, and that will give the imaginary friend a chance to do the childhood skills, just like Pat's getting to do them now, and Cosmo got to do them as well. But the imaginary friends that are not made real until they're teens, they miss out on those childhood skills, and so I've got to work harder when it's time for them to start learning their cooking and other skills that they get a boost with by doing the childhood skills and the toddler skills as well, of course. But none of the imaginary friends get to do their toddler skills because their owners would be toddlers, and toddlers don't use the chemistry tables. Somewhat later, when all of the skills have been completed for the two little boys who are going to age up, Percy gets a cake and everybody runs outside to cheer for him. And I moved that umbrella that was in the way earlier, that big yellow umbrella that was sitting on the lawn. So now we can see them. And it's very convenient the way they've all gathered on the other side of the cake. You can see everybody in this shot. They sure do make a racket. So he's blowing out his candles. And Percy is almost a teen. I think I'll put him in a red or orange shirt again so we know which one is Percy. There's so many of them with the green skin and Don's hair colour that it's difficult sometimes to tell them apart, although their faces are all slightly different. And I dress them differently. So now it's time for everybody to go and eat cake. Percy doesn't look too bad in that outfit, so I'll let him eat his cake before I take him into stylist. And we've still got to age up Pat. It's going to happen very soon. Here they all are inside enjoying Percy's cake. And as soon as they've finished their cake, we'll send them outside for another party and another birthday. And they can come in here and eat more cake and they'll all get stuffed. A big turkey moodlet that they get when they've eaten their fill and then they're forced to eat again. And if you keep making them eat, well, they've got that moodlet, they gain weight. They can get really fat if you keep doing it, but we won't do that to them. So there's Pat. He's done his blowing out of his candles and got his new trait, eccentric. I'm not sure if that'll do him any good or not. Of course, Percy got charismatic. Doesn't Pat look different? I think I'll keep that hair on him. He's a handsome young man. He'll go into Create a Sim. We'll check out what skin he's got and give him new clothes as well. He must have an umbrella in his pocket. I don't know where he got that from. I didn't give it to him. He might have picked it up around town somewhere because I'm sure I didn't have an umbrella in the house. Now let's see how many of them get sick. Some of them wouldn't have got cake last time. So if they are the ones who eat the cake this time, well then nobody will get the turkey moodlet. But if some of them get cake both times, they're the ones that will get that moodlet. There's so many imaginary friends there now. I'm definitely going to have to move Sims around town when it's time for Cindy and Bill to start having their babies. That's part of what Donna's for. I just want you to know Donna before she takes one of these away to live with her. So there's Pat sitting there opposite Petal. He does look different. I don't think I've ever had a sim looking quite like that before. Interesting. That's Percy at the end of the table, enjoying some of Pat's cake as well. I bet he's got a stuffed moodlet. The others coming in with their cake, Cindy and Owen, and I think that's Bobby in the green shirt. Now here we are outdoors with James and his imaginary friend having a chat. Bill was just sitting there doing his homework. In case you don't remember, Bill has been introduced to the household. He is Cindy's boyfriend. I made him specially for her in Create a Sim, and he's going to be the father of Cindy's babies. That's Bill. James and Puzzle are there working on their relationship. They've got to become very good friends if James is going to have any hope of making Puzzle become real. Back down in the basement, James and Martin are both working on trying to find that elusive potion. And as I flick between activating James and Martin, we see a different imaginary friend. Martin's imaginary friend is much smaller than James's imaginary friend because he's only a child. There's Trish getting abducted. Those aliens don't waste any time, do they? Get a new sim. She's just been made real recently, and there she is getting abducted already. Here you are, back again. And as usual, the sim who's been abducted is not happy with the alien who did the abducting. So James and Martin and their two imaginary friends, Puzzle and Bobo, will be living down at the basement most of the time over the next few sim days while they work on finding the potions to turn the imaginary friends real. Fortunately for us, James, who we're really waiting on, will get his quite soon. And Martin, well, he doesn't work at it very often, but he will get there eventually, but not in this episode. Part of Martin's problem is he gets singed a lot more often than James does. And to mix things up a bit, Cindy had a sudden desire to discover a new potion. So she came down to use the chemistry table as well. And so she's going to be there looking for a potion until she finds the one she's after. It's worth some lifetime happiness points for her, so it's worth a while for her to do it. Oops, James got singed. He had an explosion. I think that's the only one he had. So lucky I got it on camera for you. He's back at it again now. He's going to keep working at it until he gets that potion. Then we will see him turning his imaginary friend real, and we'll find out if Puzzle is a he or a she. The only thing that's bothering me a bit at the moment is Puzzle seems to be really hungry. What do you do with an imaginary friend that you can't control, who appears to be starving? I think I'm just going to have to make it real as fast as possible so we can give it something to eat. James keeps making new potions, but so far he has not made the potion that he needs. Puzzle keeps encouraging James to continue searching for the potion that he's after. Meanwhile, Bobby's come down to have a go at the science machine. He had a wish to do that as well, so he's getting lifetime happiness points out of what he's doing. Cindy's down in the basin too. She's going to have another go at finding that potion that she has got a wish to find. She still hasn't discovered it. And Puzzle is absolutely starving now. He's in the red zone. I do hope James hurries up and finds that potion. So James is busily still working on that potion, and I think he might be about to get the one. That looks like it. And I checked, and Puzzle's now got the menu item, but it's a greyed out. So James can offer to make Puzzle real if they become better friends than they are at the moment. So James and Puzzle settle down to a little bit of getting to know each other better. And this will go on for a while before James finally is able to offer to make Puzzle real. After a really long get-to-know-you session, and I'm wondering how Puzzle hasn't collapsed from starvation at this point, they finally reach the point where they're best enough friends for James to be able to make the offer, and Puzzle accepts and drinks the potion. What's going to happen? Is it a he or a she? Thinking about Gary. Must be a she, possibly. I usually think about Cindy, but this one's got thoughts for Gary and hearts too, probably. Oh, it's a girl. It is a girl. Now, I gave her a new skin. Didn't change the slider position, but she came out a much paler colour because I wanted her to have one of my, I think it's one of the KD Primer or Starfruit, or might even be E-Skin Fresh. I forget, but one of those three skins she ends up with. At this point, she's just got an EA skin. And here's a quick look at the 3 new Sims. That was Percy, who just spun into his exercise gear. So that is James's imaginary friend made real. Her name was Prue. And of course you also saw Pat standing next to Percy. Now we're going to go and spend the rest of the video with Donna and her interesting and growing household. We've got a lot to cover with Donna in this episode, and there's not very many minutes left in the video. Of course, the alien abductions continue, and this time it's Mabel, the resident plant sim teen. On Mabel's return, we can tell there's very little love lost between Mabel and the alien. Mabel is not happy. She thought she'd get the mail though before she went inside. Since Mabel moved in, Donna has been living in her fairy house. Actually, she lived in the fairy house anyway and wasn't using her bedroom that I built for her, so Mabel's taken that over. They're getting very wealthy, mainly because of all the money trees they've got. I've counted they've got 48. When I move them to their new house, I'm going to take the money trees with me. I'll only keep them in this house long enough for them to remove all of the rest of the garden. They've got gardeners hired, and as time goes by, the plants die, but the money trees live for a really long time. So we can keep the money trees and let the rest of the garden die, then we'll move them to their new house. Donna's still doing bloom of her plants, but she's got her lifetime wish. She only had to bloom 100 times. Once I put the hybrid mod back in, and I will, she won't be able to bloom anymore because it's got a bug that stops the fairies doing bloom. They'll fix the bug eventually, but it's not fixed yet. So that soccer player snowman, that was built by Mabel and her imaginary friend Cosmo. Now this is the same Cosmo, imaginary friend, as Petal in the Walker household has, because Mabel is a copy of Petal, except I took Mabel in to create a sim and I changed her face so she didn't look like Petal, or at least not as much like Petal as she did. But she still had the same imaginary friend in her pocket, and she's made the potion to make an imaginary friend real. So now all she needs to do is chat to Cosmo and turn him real. And I am expecting to get the same Cosmo as we got in the Walker household. So we'll see what happens. Mabel's turned into a very good sim at making potions, and she's only got 1 or 2 potions to go before she has got all 10 of them. And I know that I'm going to want to use a young again potion on Donna at some point, so that she goes back to the beginning of being a young adult. Although she is a fairy, and fairies live for about 5 times longer than human sims, so it might be appropriate to just leave Donna as she is and be older than the sim that I've got in mind for her to marry. It won't really matter because she'll probably outlive him and everybody else in the family because she's a fairy. The gardeners have arrived and they're there happily working on the garden. I'm finding that they're having so many money trees is amazing. Oh look, there it goes. Cosmo just drank the potion. Is he going to look like the other Cosmo? Different hair, different clothes. I think you'd better go into stylist and get some new hair and clothes, and maybe a new skin as well. I wanted an interesting boy's name beginning with M, and I came up with Matteo. And there is Matteo playing with the group science project. This group science project belongs to Donna. It's the reward she got when she got to level 10 in a science skill, and I've built an extra room for it at the back and the side of their greenhouse, and it's got windows all the way up to the top. It's 4 levels high with windows up so we can see the flame if there ever is one. So now the household consists of Donna, a young adult fairy, Mabel, the teen plant sim, Matteo, Mabel's teen imaginary friend turned real, and Petunia, their toddler plant sim. And Petunia has the only doll imaginary friend that has not been made real so far. The main focus of this household from now on to the foreseeable future will be in this skilling room, because apart from teaching little Petunia how to walk, talk and potty, the Sims in the household are going to be developing their skills, trying to get to level 10, just to have them prepared for when they move to Moonlit Falls to merge with the Walker family. Now, Donna has already maxed a few skills. I know she's got gardening and science and probably sculpting as well by now. Petal wants to be a Renaissance sim, and by the time she's finished what she's doing with the chemistry table, she will have maxed 2 skills and she'll have a third to do. We've still got to pick what that's going to be. And I've decided that Matteo can work on science and alchemy.
Oh, Gazamarans!
This is the second multi-purpose room that I added. It is at the back of their greenhouse. That red door you can see it on the right-hand side. That leads into the room with the group science project. Matteo didn't get the wish that he hoped for from the wishing well, and since it's snowing outside, he can't go fishing outside. I decided he could learn to fish in the wishing well, so that's what he's going to do for a while now. This is the other end of the room with the wishing well in it, and I managed to get Donna temporarily into her everyday outfit. It's time for little Petunia to blow out her candles and age up to be a toddler. Of course, you realise why everybody is usually in their swimming outfits in this household. It's because we have sprinklers, and they're all sprinkler addicts. And I can tell you that Donna won't be in her everyday outfit for very long. Off she goes, straight for the sprinklers. There we are. We have our little toddler in the house now. These two have got to rush off to school now. School buses outside waiting for them. And the gardeners are arriving. Time for school. That was Mabel just went out to the bus. And there goes Matteo. Only 2 teens for school at the moment in this household. Their snowman looks like it's melting slowly. Little Petunia is way too small to go to school, but she's not too small to learn, and she is going to be learning all of her toddler skills that she can without assistance from Mabel or Matteo. And here she is, working on her blocks. There's the xylophone waiting for her to learn the xylophone skill. Meanwhile, Donna has been playing in the sprinklers, and then I told her to go and finish the sculpture she was working on. I've noticed that she is learning to make a huge variety of sculptures. I'm starting to think she could be a very valuable sim to have in my library, to be just popped into a game if I need a good sculptor or a sim with lots of skills, because she's sure getting some skills. She's being made specially for one of the sons of Don and Olivia. She will be having babies and they will be Don and Olivia's grandchildren. I'll try to make sure that the house that she lives in next won't have any sprinklers. Then we might keep her in clothes other than her swimwear. A couple of teens came home from school with Mabel. The one with the cap on is Michael Batchelor. There's something going on between Mabel and Michael. They met at the school prom recently, and ever since then there's been lots of visits and messages and things, but I'm not going to let it continue because Michael is going to stay in Sunset Valley and Mabel is going to move to Moonlit Falls. Matteo didn't come straight home from school. He went to the Olvie household. It looks like they've left him sit outside in the snow to do his homework. He doesn't seem to be feeling the cold because he hasn't got his outerwear on. He's just wearing his everyday outfit. He eventually finished his homework and built a snowman before I sent him home. More sculpting of ice, this time with the assistance of her green aura. And the completed snowman. Time to get home now, Matteo. While Matteo was building his snowman and Donna was sculpting ice, Mabel completed her homework and then went to teach Petunia how to talk. And then she taught her how to walk and potty as well. Won't be long before Petunia's able to age up to child. She's still got all 9 toddler books to read. Matteo had an opportunity that required him to improve his writing skill. Lucky the computer was there. I didn't place it there for kids, I placed it there so I could have something to use for the NRS mods that needed me to click on a computer or the City Hall. So she's finally learnt to talk. Now that's just walking and potty training. Of course, although she's a plant sim and she will never have the bladder need, she needs to be potty trained if we want to be able to choose a trait for when she ages up from toddler to child. We'll leave Mabel and Petunia to complete the walking and potty training skills, and then the little toddler can concentrate on reading her toddler books. I suspect she'll do them all for herself. I won't get anybody from the household to help her. Donna's got the assistance of her aura again to do her sculpting, but she's abandoned the sculpting to go and meet up with that alien that's trying to abduct her again. These alien abductions just keep on keeping on. So while Donna's off with the aliens, we might say goodbye for this episode. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to give it a like if you have enjoyed it. It gives me great encouragement and support if you do that. And if you've not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Looks like Donna's returned. I'll see you in the next video. I'll get started to work on that straight away, because there's so much happening in this household that you will enjoy watching, as well as, of course, the main household in Moonlit Falls. So bye-bye for now, and happy simming. Uh-oh, another abduction going to happen, I see.